Newly sworn in KwaZulu-Natal Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube has vowed to prioritise the upliftment of women. It follows the departure of Sihle Zikalala, who resigned after losing the ANC chairperson position during the party's elective conference. Well, for more on what she plans to do in her tenure as Premier, we're joined by Nomusa Dube-Ncube. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time tonight. Firstly, congratulations on officially being sworn in as the KZN Premier. A month ago, did you anticipate that this is how things would unfold, particularly going into that KZN elective conference?
No, I never imagined that this day will actually come. Given that, it's been 29 years into democracy. I mean, if you look at all the previous government, from the previous apartheid government to the Natal government to the KwaZulu government to the 1994 democratic government, it is the first time that we have a female leader in the province and government.
And what does that mean to you? And also, I suppose in many ways, it paints a picture of the level of expectations that there is on you as you take up this role.
Yes, I am humbled, first of all, but I also understand that this comes with a huge responsibility, particularly because there's been a lot of relief, jubilation, and a sense of, prospect for a lot of women and young women who would have thought that in their lifetime it's possible for them to be able to be considered for any senior position in government or even in the political, organizations. And this then means that I've got a responsibility as well of pulling a lot of other women so that there's a lot of voice of many women up there who are able to champion the cause of many other women who are still left behind, whether it's in political, business, public service or private sector for that matter. So this really, for me, I think it comes with a huge responsibility so that we really are able to make a mark that say, women, it is your time. It's time that you start doubting yourself, and it's time that you really push that glass ceiling that has been, there for so many years.
At the same time, while you take on this role, of course, we have seen the resignation of one of the MECs in your cabinet. Are you concerned about even further resignations, especially given the fact that, there's a conversation taking place about political alignment, and that those perhaps who were seen to be more allies of the former Premier may not find room under your premiership?
Not really, because I do believe that, all of us have got choices in our careers, and one of my colleagues decided that he wants to take a different route rather than staying in government. But also, you are correct. There might still be other colleagues who might feel that, I want to pursue a different career rather than to stay in the executive. For instance, the one MEC that has resigned, he just didn't resign from being a member of the ANC or in government, but he is going to be joining government in a different aspect than what he was doing up to now. And to think that he's also been an MEC for quite a long time, having served in a number of departments. So he is still going to be utilized. His expertise will still be utilized in government and within, our political organization. Indeed, you are correct that there might be a different emphasis but the policies are still the same, and we are all going to still be pursuing and ensuring that the policies of government, that one of ensuring that practically we achieve, we deal with inequalities that we are still facing, particularly of the fact that women are still nowhere to be seen in terms of, economically participating, whether in the mainstream economy or being supported, financially, to be able to come into the SMMEs as entrepreneurs or in any other field for that matter.
Are you anticipating further resignations, though?
We're not anticipating any further resignation, but rather there might be, as you correctly say, a different alignment, from what it has been. Because, as I say, that, everybody has got, everybody's got choices. And if colleagues feel that, I'm tired of doing this, I'd rather do something else. We are a democratic organization, and people are free to do what they feel they can contribute better at doing.
You take over a province that has been severely battered economically, still very much in its recovery phase from the COVID-19 pandemic, the civil unrest of July last year, and of course the floods, the various waves of floods that have hit KZN over the last 2 years. What are you going to be prioritizing? Because as it stands, we still have so many communities in KZN that are waiting for some kind of indication of what will happen to them after they lost their homes and their livelihoods in those floods.
It's very true. We are really needing to forge ahead with speed, of course, in ensuring that those communities that have been displaced, I know that we are busy with the building of the temporary residential houses, but also reallocating those communities to the new projects that we are doing as a province. And of course, the one other serious matter that you are raising is that one of very high unemployment as a result of, COVID-19, a lot of businesses closing down. Come the July unrest and come the floods, a lot of business have been affected. We have had to deal with prioritizing, ensuring that we retain those businesses that are there by supporting them in any other form that they need to be supported to. But again, making sure that we support a lot of other SMMEs so that a lot of people come into the economic activity. You would understand that it's known even research-wise that a lot of businesses or a lot of employment is not going to come through a big investment. It's going to come through a lot of SMMEs who will further employ other people and further extend the services to the other majority of the people. And our province is a rural province. So we've seen that we've got to emphasize on the agriculture, we've got to deal with the tourism, and we've got to deal with the sectors such as the oceans economy and those areas where we have a good potential as a province to can make, a lot of headway as opposed to other provinces.
Of course, you've just really not even one full day in the job, but we spoke about the issue of expectations earlier. When we have a conversation with you in the next 100 days, what would you have prioritized? What are the 3 things, perhaps, that we can come back to you and ask you about that you would have set as a target for yourself to get done within your first 100 days in office?
Well, the one thing that I think we need to get correct is to ensure that structurally we are a government that is structured towards providing services in an efficient manner, in an effective manner, we've got to ensure that we are able to do the monitoring and evaluation of the work that the government is doing. You would understand that government spend a lot of money, delivering services, and sometimes you find that, you've got to go back and redo maybe housing or roads because those roads were not done properly. And it's because we do not have strong monitoring and evaluation mechanisms to ensure that those that are not delivering, properly, they are brought to book. There's nothing that should be, government should source without any guarantee that if you do these roads, at least within a year or 2 years, this road cannot have potholes. If you build a house, this house cannot crack within 6 months because now it means government has got to go back and do that house or renovate that house instead of continuing to do other services that are very much needed. But also we are going to be looking at really practically how do we address the uneven economic, spatial economic that we are facing as the province. As I said, that we've got a huge rural areas, but also bringing in a lot of women to the mainstream economy, so that we have more and more of our women participating in the economy. Because we know that if women participate equally, or even if they participate, they make a huge difference, or better, for that matter, than our male counterparts. That's been my experience, of course.
Has there been an official handover between yourself and the former Premier Sihle Zikalala yet?
Not yet. We've just come in today. The legislature's just had its sitting today. We've had a swearing in today, and again, before the end of this week, we've got to look at the whole team, and then we've got to start working on the handover processes between various departments.
All right. So you're likely to meet him when?
We're likely to meet by next week, because this week we've prioritized to put the whole government in place. Because even myself, I still need to hand over. Because I was doing finance, and I need to hand over from my colleague who's going to be doing finance now, and other colleagues as well. The colleague that has left, he also needs to do a handover to the colleague that is going to be coming in to be dealing with the economic development. So we've planned that this week we've got to put all the systems in place, and next week we then start the handover processes, but also transferring, functions that needs to be transferred.
So does that mean that by the end of the week, the vacant positions would have been filled, in as far as the MEC positions are concerned?
Yes, that is our plan, that before the end of this week, we should have finalized the filling of all the positions in the Executive Council.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. KZN Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube.